we start? Okay.
All right. I think we're going. Okay. So,
Okay.
welcome everybody to the official launch for Lini's brand new novel and her debut novel, Leftovers After Life. Um, Thanks all for coming. And we're really going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to turn it right over to Lini and she's going to kind of give you a little bit of an overview. So, take it away, Lini.
All right. Thanks, Tara. Thanks everybody for coming, especially on a Friday evening. I really, really appreciate all the support and for you guys
Of
coming out.
course.
So I thought I'd start by telling you a little bit about how I came to write Leftovers After Life. As I think a lot of you may know, it took me a very long time to write this novel. From first word to today, to the launch, it's been nearly 16 years.
Oh my
So,
gosh, 16 years? Oh my
yes.
gosh.
I started it in November of 2010. So my mom had passed away in January of that year, about like 14 months after my father. They had moved closer to me from Kentucky. And after they passed away, I was left cleaning out their condo. And they were pack rats and had a lifetime of stuff. So as I'm cleaning it out, I was really struck by how ordinary items would lead to all these memories and emotions and to a lot of questions. But there wasn't anyone to really, ask those questions to. I was intrigued by how sometimes I felt different about a memory with distance than the way I remembered feeling when it actually happened. And I wanted to explore those themes in this novel. So my main character, Nina, she's often wrestling with emotions, with the
Mhm.
fact that what's left behind, the leftovers we inherit from our parents, aren't just physical, but carry emotional weight and lead to so many questions that can't really be answered because often there isn't anyone left to ask. And that leads to a lot of regret, I think. I wanted the book to explore the possibility of mending a fractured relationship with a parent after he or she has died.
Mm.
So soon after my mom died, I kind of, I semi-retired. I left the Philadelphia Inquirer, where I worked as a journalist, and ended up joining a writing group, actually a group that they're called the Playpen Group, that had been around for a long time. And they had seen an essay I had written about having kind of conflicting emotions about leaving full-time work, mainly because my mom worked full-time in the 70s during a time when not a lot of mothers or women, did that. And even though she had passed away, I felt like she, was there in my, there out in the universe somewhere having an opinion about what I was doing. But anyway, but I did leave the Inquirer and I joined this writing group and they told me about NaNoWriMo. I don't know if some of you may know about that. It's a kind of contest where you spend the entire month of November writing an entire novel. They've kind of gone out of favor now, but back then they were very popular. So I decided to do that contest, and that was during a stretch where a lot of my time was spent at my parents' condo cleaning out things, and I'd find like a fancy dress or a mortar and pestle. My mom was a chemist, so that was one of her items, or like my set of Nancy Drews, and have these memories. And I decided to write this fictionalized story with my experiences as a jumping off point. So I wrote like 25,000 words in that November in 2010. And then I spent the next 7 years completing the novel, writing off and on around freelancing. A lot of time was spent in a coffee shop with my good friend Robin, who's here. She was writing her YA novel, which you better finish.
Right, I didn't finish yet.
and so that took 7 years. And then I spent another many years looking for an agent. Didn't have much luck with that. Then I met Tara at one of these like speed dating like events with editors and agents where you have 5 minutes to pitch your story, and eventually signed with her in 2021, I think it was. And then it took a few more years of editing and rewriting, mainly because I'm very slow. But now it's finally out today, so there's a positive end to this long journey. Um, so I thought I'd read a couple of passages from the book because I know it just came out today, so most people probably haven't read it, and then we can open up to some questions. So
Okay.
this first passage is early on in the book. So Nina, who's the main character, she's 7 years old, and she's left a tea party play date with her best friend Lizzie. She's left it early after being teased by Lizzie about liking milk in her tea, liking chai essentially, rather than having lemon in her tea. And she's sulking in her room. I need to grab my reading glasses. Mhm. Okay. There are other instances that nag at Nina, like a splinter under the skin. When the Rays got new neighbors next door in the spring, Nina's ma struck up a conversation with the lady over the chain link fence that separated the 2 yards. She had a young boy and a girl about Nina's age. The children sized each other up through the diamonds of the fence. After a while, her mother lifted Nina high and over, telling Nina she would come back in an hour or so to collect her, and then offered her to the friendly woman who settled Nina on the ground. The two mothers exchanged a few more words. Nina gave the girl a tentative smile and glanced at the boy. The girl smiled back and then asked, "Is that Spanish?" Nina looked around for something Spanish, but she didn't see anything except a swing set and a vegetable patch planted with tomatoes. "What your mom's speaking," the girl offered. Nina, who could count to 10 in Spanish, shook her head, surprised that anyone would think her mother spoke Spanish. "It's English, just like your mom." But of course, that wasn't true. The girl's mother spoke Southern through and through. The girl shrugged. "Sounds weird, like Spanish." Together, Nina and the other girl went over to the swings, but they didn't talk much. Nina sat in the saddle, kicking at the worn grass. She wished her mother had never spoken to the girl's mother. Nina's mother did sound funny, and now she'd ruined Nina's chance to make a new friend. This time at Lizzie's feels just like that. It's as if Nina's always doing the wrong thing, making stupid choices. Now Lizzie thinks she's weird. Nina crawls into bed and pulls Skipper close. Her stomach is in knots. She worries that she and Lizzie are never going to be friends in the same way again. She draws herself into a small, tight ball under her quilt. And then the next passage comes somewhat later, and it involves, it's a little bit longer, but it's Nina remembering when her mother was in and out of the hospital. Nina settles her mother for her nap and closes the bedroom door. Just outside is a framed crayon drawing, hanging askew. Nina adjusts the frame and smiles at the stick figure family. She was in first grade when she drew the picture. It was the first day of school. In it, the stick figure mom wears a pink dress and a pink bow on the side of her flipped out shoulder-length hair, like the other mommies. That always makes Nina laugh. Her mother has never worn a dress or a bow, and her hair has always flowed down to her waist, done up in a bun that sits at the nape of her neck. But one thing is true. Nina's depiction has a squiggly yellow line around the neck of the mother figure and 3 squiggly lines along one arm. The chain and bangles are so much a part of her mother that Nina couldn't imagine her any other way, even back then. Nina can only find a scarce memory of her mother taking off the chain. Can you guys hear me still?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Nina can only find a scarce memory of her mother taking off the chain. She has a vivid flash of one time when she was 10 years old. She's watching her mother get dressed for a rare occasion out with her father. Her mother trades her cotton house sari for a silken one with a golden border of peacocks, easily folding the fabric across the span of her fingers, back and forth, back and forth. She tucks the pleats into her petticoat, pats the bump of fabric 2, 3 times until it is flat. Dressed, her mother pulls out a necklace of tiny Lakshmi coins from a worn, soft box lined in velvet. Nina lets out a soft "oh" and draws it closer to see the necklace and run her finger along the velvet. The satin lining of the lid has a smudge of turmeric, and tucked in a corner of the box is a disintegrating marigold blossom, a double dose of protection against the evil eye, her mother tells her. She pulls the gold chain over her head and works her face out of the snug fit. Nina notices a line of concentration appearing between her eyes. Her mother never layers her jewelry like the other mommies, the older married Indian women who garland themselves with multiple necklaces, along with their Mangala Sutra that signifies marriage. "Ma," she says, "how come you're taking off your chain?" At Diwali, Sarala's mom wore her fancy necklace with her chain. So did Deepika's mom. "Gee," her mother says, and wrinkles her nose as if something has died in the room. "I am not like Sarala's mom or Deepika's."
We lost Minnie.
Hold on, Lini, I accidentally clicked mute. Hold on. I had to unmute. Now you can unmute. It accidentally muted you. We were getting a lot of background noise, so I clicked mute all. It says here. Yes. Yes. Go ahead. Try now. There
Okay.
you go. All right. Sorry, we were getting a lot of background noise, so I tried to click mute all, and before it let me do it, but then this time for some reason it said just ignore principals, and Lini was the principal. But
Okay. All right.
for
I'll
some
keep
reason,
going.
okay, never mind. Sorry about that. Continue.
Okay. So Nina has heard the word before and thought it meant stupid. Even at 10, she knew her mother never did a thing because everybody else did. Nina's mother hooks the ends of the necklace around her neck. The Lakshmi coins nestled in a gentle arc across her chest. The light catches the gold, and it glistens. Nina watches every detail, her eyes open wide. You'll get this necklace one day, her mother says in a whisper. Nina thinks her mother sounds sad, but she shrugs off the notion. The necklace is so beautiful. Nina beams. Now, all these years later, Nina touches her drawing of the family, traces the yellow squiggle with her finger. A few days later, her mother is back in the hospital. Nina has turned to the window, watching the snow fall, when the round, stern-faced nursing assistant named Preeti, with a thick braid down her back, comes into the room. Auntie, she says, you not eating today? Why is this? The tray of applesauce and juice is untouched. Nina's mother shakes her head. She looks spent. Preeti moves the tray aside and adjusts the blanket. Bangles, gold? Her mother lifts her right arm, considers for a moment, then nods. Chain, gold? Not good to wear, risky. Someone might steal. Nina is appalled. Would someone really steal from a 79-year-old woman who is half dead, already mummified in yards of blankets? Her mother, though, seems to agree. She lets the woman remove the chain, untangle it from the tubes that crisscross her chest, and offer it to Nina, who opens her palm reluctantly. Her mother says, even with the oxygen tube, I was telling you I should remove it. Nina presses her mouth tight and clamps her fingers around the clump of chain. She drops it into her purse. Don't lose it, her mother chides. Nina's annoyance almost gives way to a smile. This is her mother, like she usually sounds. Nina's sure this stay at the hospital is another false alarm, and her mother will be back in the condo soon. Preeti wants to remove the gold bangles as well. Her mother shakes her head. Too tight, she says, and makes an attempt to work them off. See? Preeti, though, is insistent. Soap, she says. Let's see. Her mother lifts her thin arm. Nina watches as the woman lathers ivory suds over the narrow wrist and bony hand. The stubborn fingers bent, and the skin of her forearm slack like a burlap bag emptied of its rice. Nina can see her mother enjoys the attention and distraction from the monotony of the hospital room. The soap, though, isn't helping. Preeti keeps massaging the bangles over the knuckles, even when Nina's mother starts to howl. It hurts, she says. Nina winces as if the pain is hers. Leave it be, she says. Preeti stops her efforts and looks at Nina accusingly, as if she's a foolish girl. On that visit, though, no one steals the bangles. Later, the undertaker will use wire cutters to snip the 3 thin circles of gold. That. Thank you. Yeah, so those are the passages. So I think we can open it to questions. Maybe we should. Can you unmute, or do you want to? Maybe people unmute themselves.
They can unmute themselves now. That was my bad. Sorry about that, everyone. Yes, I'm still not. All these years, I still can't figure it out. So, do you want me to kick it off with like a question or two, and then everybody else can pop in?
Okay, sure.
Okay. For those, obviously, not everybody here has read it. If anybody has, other than me, I'm not sure. But the novel begins with a very intimate and kind of unsettling moment between Nina and her mother. Can you tell us a little bit about why you don't have to necessarily tell us about the moment. You can if you want to, but can you just tell us a little bit about why you chose to begin there?
So initially, the novel actually did not begin with that opening scene. It had a much slower start with Nina, in the condo unpacking things. She finds this dress that sparks all these memories from her childhood, and it was about that. But you, Tara, actually wisely thought that might not really hook readers very well with that kind of opening, and wanted something that would hook readers. So that's why I thought about it for a long time, and then finally came up with this scene where the mother's, the opening scene, she's in the hospice basically, dying, and her last words to Nina are, very harsh. And I thought that really that exchange really encapsulated their relationship by that point, and would also be a little bit of a mystery, perhaps, to hopefully for the reader to want to find out and understand, like, why would a mother ever say something like that to their to their child, to their daughter, as they're dying.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hold it. You can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do you worry at all that people will think this is more autobiographical than it really is, since it was inspired by, you going through your mom's things after you died? Do you think people will think, oh, well, this must be her relationship with her mother was like this?
Question, Kathy. So yeah, there is some worry about that. I mean, both my parents have passed away, so they're not here to read it. But I definitely think my mom,
Yeah,
I think she would have been very mixed feelings about it. Like I think she would have been proud that I wrote a novel, but she
yeah,
would have assumed this is how I feel about our relationship. And the way I think of it is
right,
it's a riff off of true moments, right? So some aspect might be true, some little
right,
aspect, and but then it's fictionalized and riffed off of that, and goes into a much more dramatic
right.
place, right? Because
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think my own life is all that interesting to make for a whole novel. And in terms of other people, I mean, there are family members who are buying it and reading it, and they've already asked, "Oh, did your mother really say, that word when when she passed away?" Because my mom did
Uh,
actually pass away in a hospice
yeah.
setting, and no, she didn't. So
I'll jump in here. I'm Lini's cousin-in-law, and if you knew Pankaja auntie, you'll know she would have never said that. So
thanks. Sure.
she can. I mean, it does draw you in, Lini. So I mean, I did read that, and I was like, oh my god. And then I was like, come on, Pankaja auntie would have never said that, but it does kind of make you. I read like the first chapter already, because I had to work today.
Oh, that was
Otherwise, I'd have
fast though.
read
You
the
just got
whole.
it today.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it before, right? So anyway, so it does draw you in, and you do feel okay. I have to read on to see what's the story behind all this, you know. So it did work. So
Oh, good.
yeah,
That's good advice
That's what you're
too.
looking for, right?
Yes. Anyone else?
Lini,
Oh,
this is
wait, are you
Deirdre.
saying something,
Hi.
Rob? Oh, wait. Okay. Hi. Oh,
Hi.
hi. How are you doing,
Hi.
Deidre?
Good, thanks. I remember in book club once you were telling a story of how you went to a wedding and someone pulled you aside and said you had done your sari all incorrectly and they'd redressed you. And I love the passage that you wrote with the folding of the sari. And I thought it was so mesmerizing. I love when people, because it does draw you into the place and just the opening of the jewelry box, the description, it
Thank
was
you.
very lovely. And I'm looking forward. I think the book arrived at my house today and my friend is picking up all my stuff and driving it to the shore. So I'm hoping that I get it
Oh,
today.
nice. Oh,
Thanks.
thank you. Thanks so much, Deidre. Yeah, I mean that's one of those things too, right? Like, my mom's not here anymore to help me like wear a saree. You think I would have learned that all these years, but I didn't. So now, but I have lots of aunties, including Priya's mom, who often helps me when I'm in India. I need to figure out how to wear it.
Well, hi, Lainey. I'm so
Hi, Robin. Oops, I think she froze. Am I frozen? No.
no, you're okay. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good.
Okay. I said hi, and I love the sensory detail throughout yours so much. There's so much sensory detail. I also love the first two scenes that you read with the sort of, cultural divide with the generations.
Mm.
Um, and all of it makes me enticed. And I'm wondering, I know you had, I can't remember how many objects, but how did you decide about which objects to use in your
Oh,
chapters?
I don't know if I've ever counted up how many exactly I have, but I mean there are at least a dozen or more, I think, in there. So some of the objects are like real things that I found in my uh, parents' house, and then but I didn't really know this, why they were saved or the story behind it, and I that was the fiction part. I would just imagine like what could the origin story be for these items that also advance the overall arc of the novel. And what I initially struggled with is when you have an arc of a novel, you really have to have the character grow and change in some way, right? And so Yeah, and so getting these objects to be part of her growth was, I think, a real challenging part of the novel. But yeah, but especially the first three objects in the novel. So there's a dress, there's this green dress, that one that's on kind of looks like the one on the cover, a mortar and pestle, and this thing called a massagomatic. It was like this massaging back of a chair thing that were real items that I found in the house, and then the stories about them are made up.
Of the objects, did you know when you were writing, like when you were writing them, like what kind of like what each artifact was going to reveal about the character, or did that happen as you were writing?
So, writers talk a lot about being either a plotter or a pantser. And so a plotter is someone who has a really detailed outline of the entire novel before they even, write a word or two. And the pantser, you literally make it up as you go along. And I'm definitely a pantser, which is probably part of the reason it took me so long as well to write it, because I did not have an outline. It's the same way I do my journalism stories, but those are, much shorter and contained. And so yeah, it was hard to write 89, what it was like 88,000 words or something like that, as a pantser. But that's basically what I did. But I would get in. So when I decided, when I had an object in mind and started writing about it, I would get kind of in this zone of imagining the origin story of the item and just start, describing what I'm seeing in my mind's eye. So that, the scene, the sounds, the smells. I was really trying to use like all the senses, not just what you would see. I'm really trying hard to be very vivid.
I
Hey,
had a
Wendy.
Hi, nice to meet you. I met
Yes,
you online.
I know. Yeah.
Um, I wondered if you had any challenges being a journalist and switching to fiction, if it came naturally to you, or if there were some obstacles that you had to write in a different way, or what that experience was like.
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's interesting. So most of my journalism, career in terms of when I worked for the Inquirer, a lot of it was spent in features and like a stint in the Sunday magazine when they still had a Sunday magazine, and so in that period when I was there, like, so this is be the 90s mostly, I think, they really encouraged journalists to use narrative techniques in doing our journalism. So to really set scenes, to use a lot of vivid details. Obviously, for the journalism, everything's fact based, so it's information you get from interviewing people, and what they are telling you happened, whatever that story might be. So I don't think it wasn't that hard actually to move into fiction. And it was kind of fun. Journalists always kind of joke saying, oh, the facts get in the way of a good story. And so here I didn't have to worry about, facts per se, and could just make up the story.
Hey, Lini,
Hi, Jim.
how are you?
I'm good. Good.
Good, congratulations. I just
Yeah.
ordered the book and I was
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
flipping through it as we're talking here. So, what do you, first, two questions. One is a technical one, I guess, for you and Tara, is why did you choose hardcover? And the second question is, and this is something that I struggle with, like, because I have had a book that has taken me many years, actually two or three books. What is it that, can you describe like the journey of the book, like where it started? You had a certain idea. Did it start as a memoir? Did it start as a novel? Did it change a lot over that period, 15 years, you said? Yeah, I'm always
Yes,
very curious
60.
about the journey of a book.
Yeah. So the first question on the hardback, I mean, that was something like part of, like my bucket list, wish list to have, to be able to have a novel. I mean, to write a novel, but then to have it come out in hardback. So it was in our original contract. We did go back and forth a little bit about it, when it came time to actually publish it. But I think in the end, we decided to stick with it. I don't know if Tara wants to say something else about that.
Yeah, I mean, we had never done a hardcover before, so when Lini brought it up early on, part of me way back when we first did that, I was like, oh, it's yeah, for in my mind, whenever I sign a new book, for some reason I don't think it's ever really going to happen. I guess it's just like the pessimist in me. So I was like, yeah, okay, no problem, because I know it's never going to happen. Like that's where my mind was, and of course it did happen, like all the other books always do, because we we're hard workers and we do it. So then when it came time to do it, of course, it has become almost prohibitively expensive to make hardcover at this point. But at the same time, we were like, let's just give it a try because we've really never done, other than a couple of children's books, we've never done a hardcover. So it's kind of, it's kind of an experiment just to see where it goes.
Hmm.
So it was just, it's kind of an interesting experiment, and of course, it fulfills Lini's, bucket list dream. So
Yes.
I'll admit I've always wanted to see a hardcover on our shelf as well. So it fills two bucket list dreams for us. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
that's
I'm
and
excited
then in
about it.
terms of the journey, like I said, so yes, I mean, obviously it was inspired by, real events, right? My parents passing away and having to clean out their condo and all of that. But I never thought of it as a memoir from the beginning. I thought of it as fictionalized. I think what's changed is that when you first write something like that, it feels very personal, and you think like, why would anyone else be interested in this story? Like this is something that happened to me, and there's probably nobody else who feels this way about things when if their parent had died, or if they had to clean out their house, or that type of thing. But then over time, partly in talking with other people, but over time, I really felt like the themes seemed more and more universal, and that this is those emotions and trying to deal with the loss of a parent and grief and regrets, all of that I think is very universal in many ways, and that yeah, and that was what I was trying to do more and more as I went through the story, and again, like, make it less about what really happened, and riff off of just that tiny little bit of truth. And then in terms of other change, I mean, there were changes because, especially once I signed with Tara, because she has a really good eye for editing, and she would, she kept asking me. I mean, it was frustrating sometimes, Tara, while I was going through it, but ultimately it made for a better product. But she'd keep asking me why. Why would Nina feel this way? Why would she do this? Why? And so as I tried to answer that, I mean, that really made, I think, the story much richer, and made the character grow, in that arc over time. I don't know if
Thank
that
you.
answered your question, but yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, very interesting.
Lainey, I have a question.
Hey, hi, Smitha.
Smitha. Hi, congratulations.
Thank you.
Excited to get the book and read it. I haven't yet. But I was curious about whether, like, how have you felt since finishing? Like, have you felt a sense of loss that your character, the chapter, if you will, of the book is finished for you? Or do you imagine still that the character, like how the character's life continues? And so what's that been like for you?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Initially, I was just relieved. I'm like done with the writing. I can take a breath, especially after it taking so much time. But then you're almost plunged right away into marketing. And so, I'm so sorry. I have this alarm that goes off. I have to turn it off. Hold on a second. Alexa, I'm done. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Yeah, so, and then it was right into marketing. And so that's like proving to be a whole nother, um, learning curve and challenge, and very time consuming. So I haven't had a lot of chance just to, kind of more in the end of it, or the character. I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but yeah, there is a way, there are times that I think about what would be, the story ends at a point. What would be the next thing that this, Nina would do, or how would her life unfold after it ends? So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's another novel. If I dare take a chance of writing another one.
Nina, I'm curious, what does the marketing end of when you publish a book, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's real, so if you're with one of the big five publishers, and there was I think a time when if you were with a big five publisher, you got a marketing budget and they helped you, and they sent you around the country and all that stuff. I think even now, even with a big one, that happens only if you're a very, very big name. I don't, I think I know a lot of authors who are with bigger publishing houses, and they still have do a lot of it themselves. So you're basically doing it on your own. And Tara's great. She does so much social media for us and other things to publicize it, but she's really, we were talking about basically one person trying to do all of this. So it's really up to the authors to get out there. So I do social media. I reached out to the local public libraries, a couple of which of whom bought the book, so that was exciting. So it'll be in the public library in Bryn Mawr and Newtown Square, at least at this point. And then you try to like tie into their book club events.
How about like Barnes and Noble, like that? I mean, do you?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean it's
And
on their
independent.
website.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, that's a whole process to get into like the Barnes and Noble. So apparently you have to go bookstore by bookstore, which I never knew. Yeah. Not like you don't just go to like, corporate Barnes and Noble and it's in all their bookstores.
It's an individual, like Lawrence Park, Bryn Mawr.
Yeah, you have to approach each one and get them interested. And same with the independent bookstores. Obviously, I've been, reaching out to some of those.
Are you
So,
finding that easy? Are you liking that part of this journey?
um, I mean, no, I don't think it's easy at all. I mean, okay, so the first person I approached was the librarian at Newtown Square Library, which is, where I live, and I had gone there a lot to do the revisions and stuff like that, just to have a quiet place to write. So the librarian kind of knew me there, and I very tentatively asked her, so kind of, what's the process to get your book into a library? And then she was like so excited, and she immediately pulled out her phone and looked on Amazon and pre-ordered it. So that was very exciting. That went so well. But subsequent efforts, you like don't hear back anything, or they're like, we'll think about it kind of stuff. So yeah, so
I mean, it's a different hat to wear.
it is. Yeah. And
Think
marketing's
outside the
not my,
box and like where are your avenues, who are you going to target, and how you're going to approach them. It's so I'm curious on how that, how that feels.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been going to I went to a conference that I just, a couple of weeks ago where they had a set of workshops basically on marketing. So I learned a few little things there. So we'll see. Yeah. Have to see how it
Need any
goes.
help here in Newtown Square? I'm
Oh, there you go.
happy to
Thank you.
help you.
Yes,
Not
the
that I
gym's
know
been
anything,
great.
not that I know what to do, but I'm
No,
just,
no, but
I'm just so excited for you.
thank you. Yeah, it's just little things like Ellis Gym where I go for exercising. The instructor has a group chat for all of us who are in her class, and she
We
very
saw it last
sweetly,
night. It was
yeah, and she,
someone pulled it up. They're like, oh my goodness, this is what you're
oh
talking
right,
about.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah, it was Lori, and so she very sweetly put in the chat that I have this novel out, and so that was nice. So you just have to get the word out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anybody else? It's so hard on the screen to see if anybody's trying to ask anything. I feel like I had a bunch of questions to ask, but I think people asked almost all of them that I for me. So,
So, so there was this one thing that I thought was kind of interesting if people want to try to do this, but I wondered whether if anyone out there who you might have, might have lost someone in your life, and if you have something that belonged to them, and what did you find perhaps surprising, or if it led you to any particular memories, like down a path that you may not have thought of before, and I want if you feel comfortable sharing that. No takers.
No, I have a robe of my grandmother's
Mm.
that she wore, and I wear it just, randomly. And it just,
Wow. Hmm.
I think of her and it just makes me feel good. But I often think about death, and when I die, I'm actually getting bins ready for my kids of like artifacts of them growing up,
Oh, wow.
and they don't know about it. And there'll be a letter in there in each bin from me to them. So that's why this book, I think, really struck a chord with me.
Wow.
Hey,
I love
Victoria,
that.
that's what I just wrote about this in my Substack column. That's what my mother did. My mother passed away a month ago, And
Sorry, Jim.
prior to her passing, well, as she was leaving the old house, she prepared bins for each of us and gave them to us. But I didn't look at mine until a few days before her funeral last month, and that's when I discovered all these artifacts, including every card, birthday card, Christmas card, Mother's Day card that I ever gave her, and my kids ever gave her.
Yeah.
And she wrote little notes in them.
Yeah.
And she wrote little notes in them, including one that really floored me. But that's exactly what she did. Created a little bin for each of us.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's really powerful. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think those are examples that, so many people are going to relate to this book in so many different ways.
Yep.
I was given my grandmother's pot. She used to cook in this one old pot, and her family, she really didn't have anything left over, but she had this one pot. I'm not sure it's still safe to cook in, but I do. I'm not sure it passed today. And it's a really big pot. And so I would cook in it and think of her. And then after like probably like 15 years after she passed away, I made a little chapbook. It of all her recipes, and each one has a little story. So kind of, and I gave it out to all the women in my family. So that was kind of a fun thing. It ended up making me do.
That's really nice. Yeah. Yeah, there's something about that physical item, isn't it? Yeah, Carrie, go ahead.
I have my friend's cat. My friend of 35 years, very, very dear friend. She died 6 years ago, and she knew she was dying. And she asked me if I would take her cat. So 2 months before she died. And that's how I knew it was coming. And I have this calico now, who my friend had ALS. So she had to move many times in a very short period of time, and it really made the cat very nervous. So it took her a while to settle in, and her name is Cassia. She immediately loved my husband. But just recently, the Cassia has decided that she likes me also.
That's good.
It's not that she was ever mean, it's just that she has her preferences. But for me, it's such a connection to Lydia, such a connection to her. And I miss Lydia terribly. She was a huge, wonderful influence on my life, but I have her Cassia. These things that we give to people. Yeah. So thank you for letting me share that.
Of course.
My older sister was diagnosed with cancer, and she knew that she wouldn't have another Christmas, so she bought all of our Christmas presents, and she packaged a little present for me, and she wrote a tag, and then she passed, and I refused to open it. And on the 20th anniversary of her death, I opened it, and it was a pen. And the Tara's book, the first book that I wrote with Tara, I signed with that pen, and then it died, and then the pen died.
And then the pen. Oh, wow. Wow. But that's great.
So I got one signature out of it, but it was amazing. I opened it on the 20th anniversary.
That's amazing. I didn't know that happened to you ever. I'm sorry about that. It's terrible.
Yeah.
No, it was great. It was a great ending.
Yeah. Yeah. What an appropriate gift for you, a pen.
Anybody else have any questions or anything for Lini before we wrap up?
Look forward to reading it, Lini. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, then I guess we'll wrap up and just thank you everybody for coming. And sorry about the mix up with the audio. Of course, I always had to do something ridiculous every time we have any sort of event. But congratulations, Lini. It's obviously you said you were slow, and that's why things took so long, but I'm
I
slow
was.
too. So like between the two of us, we really took our time, but I think we have produced something really special. So I
Thank
think
you.
that people are really going to love it. So thanks everybody for coming, and definitely check it out if you haven't checked it out already. It's on Amazon, our website, it basically anywhere you can buy books online. So um
Is there a
And
special, is
bookshop.org.
there a better place you want us to buy it, Lini? Like, no, doesn't matter where we buy it? Okay.
I mean, it would be nice if you're, willing to go to bookshop.org. I'm not
Bookstores.
sure,
Yeah.
you may not get free shipping or something with them, but it does support independent bookstores, and I think we all, anyone who reads or certainly anyone who writes wants to support independent bookstores. So, yeah. But but it is available, I think, at all, kind of all the major retailers, right? Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, very excited. It looks great. And
Thank
that was a
you.
lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Robin, by the way, was my writing partner. So we both would meet at this coffee shop in Wayne, and she would work on her novel, I'd work on mine, and we'd trade our writing and critique each other's, gently critique each other's. I think we were really, tried, we were, Robin was so supportive of me. She kept me going all these years. So big shout out to her.
Not to the finish line.
Yeah.
Hey, Lini, you have a bunch of people here wishing you all the best, and
Oh,
we're
wow.
all looking forward to
Hi,
reading it.
Auntie.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I read
Thank you. Thanks
I
for
read the
coming.
first chapter. It's very, very interesting. I couldn't leave the book.
Oh, that's good. That's good to thanks. Thank you.
Hi, Lini.
Thanks to everybody for all the support. I mean, that's it too, right? To write a book, you need people kind of in your corner supporting you. It's very easy, I think, in some ways, to kind of just give up on it, give up on a project. And so all of you in different ways have done that for me, and I really, really appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you everybody, and I hope to see you next time.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks.
Congratulations, Lini.
Thank you. And one shout out to my husband, Dilip, who's not showing his face because he's in India right now, and it's like 5 a.m. in the morning or 4:30 or so, some ridiculous hour, but he joined, so I really appreciate that.
Thanks so
Congratulations.
much, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. See you.
Congratulations.
Bye.
Have a great
Thanks.
night. Good, and have a
Yeah.
great weekend.
Yeah, have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye-bye now.